How you doing? Wanted to talk about Legend of Zelda. I recently played and just beat today Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. So I wanted to talk about it. It came out in 2013 and I just now got to it, but it is a sequel to Link to the Past, the Super NES Legend of Zelda that I didn't play until like the late 90s, but obviously that game was really good and it was an interesting choice to make a direct sequel to that game because A Link to the Past is kind of where the Zelda series figures out its what it wants to be, I suppose. The basic idea of it and how the process of the game follows. You start off, you do some missions in the beginning, something changes, maybe it creates a new world, maybe it starts a new mechanic. Each game kind of has an individual mechanic that's unique to itself. Link to the Past is kind of when it figures that whole idea, the whole core of the series about. Obviously it changes for things like Majora's Mask, but that's kind of the template for Legend of Zelda. So I thought this may probably, yeah, I'm not gonna say it. It's better than Link to the Past. It's better than Link to the Past. That's gonna sound really weird, but there weren't many times in this game where I felt like I wasn't challenged enough, or I was overly stuck, or a mechanic didn't work out, or a part of the map wasn't used. Like there's certain portions of the game where, like, besides the ice rod and that lake area, like that part of the world there's not really that much to do. But I felt like Link Between Worlds took what Link to the Past did and built upon it and made a better game. The whole painting mechanic, I think, was constantly used. It was used to explore the world, the overworld. It was used to beat dungeons. It was always a way to solve puzzles. It was shaped in that you could prevent a player from using it and doing other things. Like, it was a really good game in that regard. I thought it also was clever in that it played on your expectations of what the game would be. There was enough that built upon the old world and the old characters and the old bosses and the old enemies that it made you think it was always going to be like that. And when it threw something new at you, it kind of caught you by surprise, or it built upon a different character. For example, like the young witch that was related to the witch that would make you potions, or the different sage that was related to the person that helped you, or all these other things. It was a very lively environment, which I always enjoy in a Zelda game. Now, for the spoilers, I did want to talk about the end of the game's story, so I'm just gonna let anybody who doesn't want to know see their way out of the video. I think they're gone. Okay, so Rufio, right? I think that's his name. The bunny salesman. Okay, that was clever. First of all, the whole idea of like being able to rent the weapons and buy them and upgrade them, that was all well done. Kudos to that. It was definitely an interesting twist to not get the main weapons in the dungeons. It also felt like you had the ability to explore the outer world more and do dungeons in different numbers because of that. I don't know if that's an accurate statement, but it did feel that way. Hilda, there was always something ominous about her, the underworld princess. There was always something ominous about her, and it was satisfying to see that happen in the endgame, where she was kind of, if not the villain, a villain all along. That was cool. That was satisfying. I did not see the fact that Rufio was Dark World Link coming, but it made a whole lot of sense. Like, holy crap! Using his characteristics of like trying to get all your money and do all that, he kind of came off as a sleazy businessman. It masked the idea that he was really hanging out at your house because it was his house. Like, when he lifted the hood up, and I was like, oh my god, that's great. That is great. I mean, because like I said, he hangs out in your house. His house in the Dark World, or Lorule, I guess is what it's called. His house in Lorule was abandoned because he's in your house. That's clever. The bird thing is kind of like a Navi for him. He's cowardly, because what they were saying, the people in Lorule didn't have the same characteristics as the people in Hyrule, even though they were mirror images of each other. That's brilliant. It ties into the storyline. The fact that Hilda, somebody says, I don't remember if it was Hilda, comes out and says, like, yeah, the denizens of Lorule might not be like the ones you're familiar with. That's like Game of Thrones style bad guy telling you that he's the bad guy. So like all those twists at the end made like so much sense from a story level, from a game design level, when it came to like everything wove together. It led to the ending of you saving Lorule with your goodliness. Like, oh, that was a good twist. That was a good story. So I would say it is definitely one of the best games on the 3DS. Like it is good. It is damn good. Most of you have probably played it, but if you haven't, like, no, it's good. It's definitely good.